Welcome to this episode of The Wisdom of Paramahansa Yogananda, brought to you by Self-Realization Fellowship, where each week you can receive inspiration and guidance from Paramahansa Yogananda's Kriya Yoga teachings. The subject of this episode is Gratitude, Pathway to God's Blessings, by Brother Bhimananda.
Good morning again, everyone. Nice to be with you all. Our subject today is gratitude. We have a recording of our Guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. It's called Follow the Path of Christ, Krishna and the Great Ones. And he's at the 1951 convocation at this recording, talking to hundreds of devotees there. And he starts by praising the board of directors and these young people. He says, I've handed over the whole work to them, and to my heart's satisfaction, I find they've applied the American way to make this a perfect convocation. And then he goes on expressing his gratitude, his love, his devotion to God, to his gurus. And then he talks about Arthur Kumata. He says, Arthur Kumata, he's a very good driver and a very good boy. 26 years I've known him, and I'm so glad he's here. And he made Arthur stand up in front of everyone, and they're all clapping for Arthur. And I remember listening to that and thinking, imagine how Arthur must have felt in front of all of those people, his guru, offering such kind words of appreciation and positive reinforcement. And then Guruji went on to talk about Miss Pratt, who is, of course, our beloved Taramata. She's a most wonderful soul. She doesn't know what rest is. While we're here talking, she's busy editing other books. And he went on to praise our Taramata with her editing of the autobiography of a yogi. And this was the spirit that our Guru exemplified. He was always very positive, always expressing his gratitude, always looking at the good in others and expressing that towards them, always expressing his gratitude to the many blessings from his gurus and divine, the beloved divine. People would say Guruji would build you up to such a degree that you would feel almost holy yourself. Like you could know God in this life. He would put you on such a pedestal that you would want to climb to that, to live up to what he saw in you. Our beloved late President Sri Dayamata, she was just the same. Always encouraging, always very positive, always very grateful. She had a little retreat about half an hour north of Mother Centre, and some of us, the monks, we go out on Mondays and do some work in the gardens. It'd be 100 degrees outside. And we're all working, we're all dirty and sweaty, and Ma would come out of the house, she'd have a little tray of cookies or drinks for us, and she'd put them on the back table in the backyard, and she'd come up and she'd take my hands. Oh Ma, I'm so dirty. She said, that doesn't matter, dear. How are you? Are you well? It's so good to see you. God bless you for all that you do. Master would be so proud of you. And thank you so much for all that you do in looking after these gardens. It means so much to me. She'd say, this is my little haven where I can just come out and be with Divine Mother in nature. I can't really go into the garden so much at Mother Centre because everyone wants to come and talk to me. But here, I can just be with my Divine Mother. I love watching the birds flying by and the squirrels running up and down the trees. I go and pick a flower, a rose every day from the garden, put it on the altar for Guruji, and one for my mother. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. And she builds you up to such a degree where your heart was full and you would be thinking to yourself, well, what else can I do, Ma? And then she'd go to the next monk. And then she'd go to the next monk. This was the president of Self-Realization Fellowship. She was in her late 80s at the time. Tremendous responsibilities, tremendous burdens on her time. And yet she would take time in her busy life to come out in 100-degree heat and spend some time with the monks and express her gratitude. And none of us will ever forget that. The smallest little acts of kindness that we give towards one another can have a far deeper impact than we might realize. Just the simplest words of gratitude can have far-reaching impact on those around us. Our beloved President, Brother Chidananda, exactly the same. Always encouraging, always expressing his gratitude, always building people up. I remember at Christmas, the monks were able to greet him one by one in person. And as I was waiting for my turn to go up and greet him, I could hear some of the conversations he was having, so full of appreciation for each and every monk that came to greet him. So full of positive, encouraging words. And this was the example set by our Guru and those that have followed in his footsteps. Always looking for the good, always expressing the good, always encouraging, always being grateful for what we're blessed with. I remember growing up in Australia, my family, there wasn't a lot of appreciation. We were pretty straight talkers. We called a spade, and that was just the way we were, and that was fine. It was great. But when I found Guruji's teachings, and especially when I entered the ashram, I started to see just how important gratitude is. And we used to be taught in postulant training, assume a virtue if you have it not. Or, another way of saying it is fake it until you make it. And so I wasn't really familiar with this whole gratitude idea. So I was like, this is something I need to work on. This is something I need to develop. And so I started to look for the good in my brothers, in those around me. And, look for those things that I could be grateful for. And not just look for them, but express them. And I have to be honest, when I first started doing this, it was very awkward for me. It wasn't natural. And I'd sort of say to someone like, "Oh, you did such a good job. You're very good at that." And it didn't feel natural at all. And it probably didn't come across naturally either. But I kept working at it, and I kept working at it, and I kept working at it. And eventually it got to a point where it became a natural part of my being. Where now it's very easy to see the good in others. It's very easy to be able to express that. It's very easy to share words of gratitude when appropriate. So if we're not good at it, well, get good at it. Fake it till you make it. I remember I serve in the center department. We've met at work with our meditation groups all over the world. And at one point we had an employee working with us. His name was Tom. He wasn't an SRF member, but just a good man. And he was so serviceful and kind and enthusiastic and just, doing everything he could to serve the monks that were in center department. So one day, I was on a phone call with one of our groups. It was a very difficult situation they were going through, and I was trying to help them work through it. But as I got off the phone with them, I was just drained. I was like, I need to take a break. And as I was getting up from my desk, the thought came to me, wait a minute, you've been meaning to do this for the longest time and you keep forgetting. For goodness sakes, do it now or you're going to just forget again. So I immediately walked over to Tom. He was busy working at his computer. And I said, Tom, I just wanted to say how much we appreciate you. We don't say it often enough, but you're such a good man. You're so enthusiastic, you're so serviceful, you're always doing your best for the monks. And it's a pleasure to have you around. Thanks for everything you do. And I just walked away. Now, a couple of interesting things happened. First of all of that, oh, I'm drained, I need to take a break. Well, that was gone. And I felt energized. And then I sat back down at my desk and I could hear. And what happened was another monk went over to speak with Tom about something. And Tom said something kind to that monk. And then that monk went back to his cubicle and he said something kind to another monk. And it started having this ripple effect through the whole office. I hadn't expected that. But it served, again, as one of these life lessons for me. Even the smallest acts of kindness, even the smallest words of appreciation can have a far greater impact than we might realize. Our beloved Sri Dayamata says, instead of concentrating on others' faults or on the difficulties we may have with them, take note of their good qualities and everything they do that is positive and helpful. We all know how it warms our hearts to feel appreciated. Let us give to others that same support. Cultivating a habit of gratitude can help us tremendously in our spiritual lives. When we start to look for the good in others, look for the good in our circumstances, look for the good all around us, and express that good and express it with appreciation, then we start to attract more good towards ourselves. Guruji says, what we dwell upon, we attract to ourselves. He says, see good, think good, hear good, feel good. And allow that good to come into our lives. What we dwell on, we attract. And as we start to see more and more good around us, and we're looking for these different things that we're blessed with every moment of our lives, we can also start to see that it's God. It's God that gives that to us. It's God that's blessing us. It's God that's loving us through our friends. It's God that's ever at play with us in our little day-to-day experiences. And as we recognize this more and more, we start to see God ever more at play with us, sometimes in very subtle ways, sometimes in a little more obvious ways, where He's just reminding us, here I am, I'm here, I'm with you, my child. One of the more obvious ways was Brother Bhimananda and I. We were on a trip to Texas visiting our meditation groups there. And we arrived at the Dallas airport and we were going to rent a car to go from Dallas to Houston and Austin, I think somewhere else. And we're at the counter getting the rental car, and the lady says, it's just a little car. And I said, well, is it going to fit all of our luggage in it? She says, I'm not sure. Would you like an upgrade? So I said, okay, we can pay for an upgrade. So we upgraded to a mid-sized car. And she's walking us out into the parking lot where all these cars are, hundreds of cars in these lines. And as she's walking out, she says, you know what? You've got a long drive ahead of you. Let me upgrade you again. Same price as a mid-size, but let me upgrade you again. We'll put you in an SUV. Let me pick one out for you. So we're walking along these lines, and she says, how about this one right here? So I said, oh, thank you so much. And we got in the car and we drove away. It was only when we reached our destination that we saw the number plate, and the number plate said SRF. What are the odds? Of all the number plates in the world, or in the US, that's the specific parking lot, that specific time, that specific decision for her to upgrade us, to choose or not, what are the odds? Billions to one, perhaps. And we recognize that right away. That was Guruji's way of saying, here I am. I'll give you a nice car to drive around in. And everywhere we went, devotees were taking photos of the SRF mobile. But as we drove it day to day, it just welled up this sense of gratitude. Gratitude to Guruji, gratitude to God for that loving reminder that I'm with you. Recently I was blessed to go on a trip to India. It was my first time in India in this lifetime. Special time that I had 6 weeks there. And lots of different little moments. But one in particular, which was quite wonderful, was I was going through the airport at Kolkata and going through security, and this officer is patting me down. I'm wearing the monastic garb, the traditional monastic garb, the kurta and the dhoti. And as he's patting me down, he says, "You're a Swamiji?" Yes. He says, "Which ashram do you belong to?" And I said, "Well, I live in an ashram in America." "There's ashrams in America?" I said, yeah. He says, "Whose ashrams?" I said, "Paramahansa Yogananda." "Who?" I said, "Paramahansa Yogananda. He's my guru." "He's your guru? He's my guru too." "Sir, it's an honor to meet you." And he shook his hand. I shook his hand and couldn't stay long because I had a line behind me. But again, what are the odds? 1 billion plus people in India, that specific time, that specific line, and I meet a devotee who greets me as a fellow disciple. There are no coincidences in life. This was God's way, Guruji's way of just saying hello and greeting me. And that fellow devotee as well. If we start looking for God, and with a grateful heart, we start seeing God. We start seeing Guru more and more in our lives. Gratitude can help with devotion. A devotee once went to Brother Anandamoy and said, "Well, I don't really feel devotion for God." And Brother Anandamoy said, "Practice gratitude. Gratitude leads to devotion." And we can try this. Just sit down with a pen and paper and just write down, well, what is it in my life that I can be grateful for? I can see, I can hear, I can taste and touch, I can breathe, my heart beats, I have clothes on my back, I have a roof over my head, I have food on the table, I have friends that love me and care for me, I have an incredible path that if I follow will lead me back to realization of God, realization of my true self as an immortal soul. I have 6 gurus who love me and watch over me and protect me. You start going down the list, it's amazing just how much we have to be grateful for every moment of our lives. And everything that comes to us is coming from God. The very fact that we can be here today, that we can breathe, that our hearts are beating, that we can see and feel and hear, but by the grace of God. Thank you, my Lord. Thank you for all the blessings you bring into my life. And as we adopt this attitude, this remembrance, it leads to love for God. It leads to devotion. Gratitude is so important. Our Guru says, The human being seeking a more spiritual consciousness should not withhold a natural expression of gratitude for the possession and functioning powers of his bodily temple, for the forces that throb in his heart, circulate in his blood, speed his digestion, condition his telephonic nervous system to receive and transmit all communications among soul, body, and outward world, and direct the metabolic, crystallizing, assimilating, procreative, eliminative functions of the body, the ramifications of thought and will in his brain, and the emotional responses in his heart. But by God's grace, we can't even love one another. As we get good at looking for the good, seeing the good, expressing the good, expressing gratitude towards others, and it becomes a deeper and deeper part of our being, it can also help us tremendously in times of challenge. When the body is going through difficulties, we have emotional upheavals or different struggles in our lives. Gratitude can be a way to help us carry that burden. I'll give you an example. Some years ago, a couple of decades ago now I guess, my father passed away. And it was quite sudden, it was quite unexpected for the family, and I went back to Australia to help with the what we needed to do with his funeral and all the different arrangements. It was a difficult time. Difficult time for the family, and we were all mourning this sudden loss, and I was doing the best I could to support my family. But also, there was a part of me that was going through this mourning and this challenge. There was another part of me that, let's call the observer, the watcher, who was in awe of what I was going through. Look at what I'm learning. Look at what I'm experiencing. Now that I'm going through this, I can understand what others go through, and I'll be able to help them in a better way. Thank you for allowing me to experience this. Thank you for allowing me to feel this depth of sorrow, because that's a testimony to the depth of love that I felt from my father. Thank you for allowing him to be in my life for all of these years. Thank you for allowing me to be here to support my family. Thank you for the time that will come when I'll greet him again in person. Thank you for this tremendous blessing, Lord. And you see, as we adopt this attitude of, even in the most difficult circumstances, turning to God and saying thank you, what happens? God can hold us. God can help us carry these things. It's not that they go away, but God is there with us. So many times when people go through difficult things, they might struggle with their meditations, they might struggle with their relationship with God, they might even blame God. Why are you allowing this to happen to me? This is not fair, this is not right. And they get angry at God and upset at God. They stop meditating and they stop praying. And they hold God at a distance. It needs to be the opposite. That's when we need God the most. That's when we should cling to him no matter what. And gratitude is a way that we can do that. Look for the good in even the most difficult circumstances and then thank God for it. Doesn't mean that the pain is less, it doesn't mean anything, but it means that God is there with us, helping us to carry that. And when I say God, whatever form of God you're most drawn to, whether you're the mother or the father, or Lord Jesus, or Lord Krishna, or the Guru, whatever aspect you're most drawn to, cling to that. Guruji says, When the summer of good fortune warms my tree of life, it easily burgeons with fragrant blossoms of thankfulness. During winter months of misfortune, O Lord, may my denuded branches changelessly waft toward Thee a secret scent of gratitude. Of course, for those of us who are devotees of Paramahansa Yogananda, there's so much we can be grateful for. Just thinking about all that he has done, all that he has given, this profound volume of teachings, the recordings, the guidance, the support. What he's brought to the world is massive and tremendous and awesome and inspiring. I like to reflect sometimes about our guru where he was in India. He grew up his entire life around family, met many different saints, eventually found his guru, spent years in his hermitage. Then he founded a school, and he had all these children that were very dear to him, and that he was supporting and uplifting. All of these teachers that he'd become very close to. And one day he's sitting in a little closet meditating, and he sees a vision. All of these Western faces, and he realizes, God's calling me to America. And within hours, he was gone from the school. All that he held dear, all those children, all of the teachers that he loved, he walked away because God was calling him. And shortly after that, he was on a boat, leaving his beloved India, leaving his guru, leaving his family, his friends, all that he held dear, coming to a strange land he'd never been to before with not a friend. And all that he went through, and all that he struggled with, and all that he gave as he traveled all around the United States, sharing the sacred message of God and building up this work to what it is today. And even after leaving the physical form, continuing to ever guide and inspire and uplift and protect every SRF YSS devotee. What a tremendous guru. What a tremendous blessing and gift he's given to us all. So much we can be grateful for. Our guru wrote, I want to ply my boat many times across the gulf after death and return to earth's shores from my home in heaven. I want to load my boat with those waiting, thirsty ones who are left behind and carry them by the opal pool of iridescent joy, where my Father distributes his all desire-quenching liquid peace. Oh, I will come again and again, crossing 1,000,000 crags of suffering. With bleeding feet I will come, if need be 1,000,000,000,000 times, so long as I know one stray brother is left behind. I want thee, O God, that I may give thee to all. I want salvation, that I may give it to all. Free me then, O God, from the bondage of the body, that I may show others how they can free themselves. I want thine everlasting bliss only that I may share it with others, that I may show my brothers the way to happiness forever and forever in thee. And that's the Guru. He loves us so much. He's given so much and will continue. So much to be grateful for. So let's take time in our lives to cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Learn to look for the good in others, express it towards them, even if it doesn't feel natural at first. And look for the good in ourselves, look for the good in our environments, express gratitude towards God and gurus for all that they bless us with on a daily basis. And the more we do this, the more we attract good toward ourselves, the more we see good, feel good, hear good. Life, is attracting that goodness. And the closer we become to God and gurus. Let's close with these words from our guru. He says, "O Father, when I was blind, I found not a door that led to thee. Thou hast healed my eyes. Now I discover doors everywhere. The hearts of flowers, the voices of friendship, memories of lovely experiences. Each gust of my prayer opens a new entrance to the vast temple of thy presence."
This has been a production of Self-Realization Fellowship, a non-profit organization founded by Paramahansa Yogananda in 1920. For more information about Self-Realization Fellowship and Paramahansa Yogananda, please visit yogananda.org.